Green Bay, Wisconsin can be a tough place to visit in the dead of winter, but in mid-September it's a picture postcard right off the rack. Autumn has always been beautiful at historic Lambeau Field, but for one team in particular, Green Bay does not hold fond memories. The Atlanta Falcons have never won here and have traditionally had trouble with the Packers. Despite coming off an impressive opening day win against the Saints, quarterback Steve Bartkowski is still cautious. In the recent past, some Falcon letdowns have proven costly, and this year the team is determined to avoid such trouble. With Bartkowski throwing and defenders like Jeff Yates, Atlanta has the talent to compete with anyone. To be certain, Coach Lehman Bennett's Falcons are a proven team of quality. Packer head man Bart Starr is not quite sure where his club stands, however. The Pack had a fine preseason and beat the Bears in their first game. But it's still a team of very young players. And with 8 rookies on this year's roster, the squad is more youthful than ever. Yet some experts feel Green Bay has as much raw talent as any team in the NFC Central. Maybe this is the year it will mature and make the Packers contenders. Indeed, it has been a while since Green Bay has challenged for a title. A reminder of that are retired Packer greats like linebacker Ray Nitschke, who are on hand for Old Timers Day. Can today's Packers win as the heroes of yesteryear once did? A victory against powerful Atlanta would certainly be a step in the right direction. From Lambeau Field, it's the Atlanta Falcons versus the Green Bay Packers in the NFL Game of the Week. There have been some great receivers in Packer history. Hudson, Dowler, and McGee are names that come to mind. Number 80, James Lofton, continues that tradition today. In the game's first series, Lofton showed why he deserves to be mentioned in such select company. It was hardly surprising to see the Packers going to Lofton so early. What did surprise was a touchdown toss to one of the least likely players on the field. Number 67, Carl Swanky, held on long enough to score on the tackle-eligible play. Reserve offensive linemen seldom enjoy moments like this, but Swanky celebrated in grand style. It had taken the Packers only 4 minutes to score on a defense that had allowed no points the week before. Now it was Atlanta's turn on offense, but they found Green Bay's defense difficult to penetrate. Atlanta's vaunted ground game was grounded, so Steve Bartkowski turned to the pass, and tight end Junior Miller, number 80. At 6'4", 235 pounds, Miller is Atlanta's biggest passing target. One of the smallest is number 89, Wallace Francis. Each man takes a different approach to his work, yet both achieve similar results. Once inside the 5, Atlanta returned to its running game, but Green Bay turned them back on 3 successive plays, and Atlanta did not score. The Packers were a long 99 yards from the other end zone and looked a contentious Falcon defense squarely in the eye. In times like these, you go with your best, and Green Bay's best is James Lofton. A second look at Lofton's catch shows quarterback Lynn Dickey just beating the pressure at one end, while Lofton defeated near-perfect defensive coverage from rookie corner Bobby Butler. The Packers were now out of danger, but hardly out of daring receptions. Fullback Gary Ellis, number 31, followed Lofton's heroics with a juggling act of his own. Ellis joined the Packers last season as an unheralded free agent and promptly led the Packers in scoring. He was an unexpected surprise in 1980, just as his numerical counterpart on Atlanta, William Andrews, was when he started in 1979. Andrews, now an established NFL star, was establishing Atlanta's ground game for the first time as period 2 began. But the Falcon drive ended when Bartkowski threw into triple coverage. Linebacker George Cumby, number 52, made the first interception of his NFL career to stop Atlanta. But Green Bay did not hold on to the ball for very long. The Falcons returned the favor when fourth-year safety man Tom Pridemore, number 27, stole a throw from Dickey. Pridemore, who serves in the West Virginia House of Delegates in the offseason, probably lost a few Wisconsin votes with his pass theft. But the interception merely postponed Green Bay's second scoring drive of the half, a march that took only 2 plays from scrimmage. The capper was the kind of a play that is bound to make Gary Ellis well known, even outside of America's Dairyland. With last week's injury to Packer running star Eddie Lee Ivory, Ellis has become even more important to the Packer offense. Ellis gives Green Bay a sturdy runner who can block. And yes, Ellis is a fullback who can catch the ball as well. After a play like this, he made believers out of both the Falcons and the fans. Green Bay now led by a 14-0 score, and the heavily favored Falcons seem to be succumbing to the Lambeau Field hex once more. But just when circumstances appeared to be at their worst for Atlanta, some strange things began to happen. Bartkowski threw another interception. This one to number 23, Maurice Harvey. Overcome by the sudden prosperity, Harvey wasn't quite ready to handle Atlanta's generous offering. The Falcons got the ball back, but they too seemed unable to deal with good fortune. 2 minutes remained in the half, and Atlanta had good field position. But after one successful completion, Bartkowski threw the ball away again. This time, number 29, Mike McCoy, was there to pick it off. With still over a minute to go, Green Bay had an excellent chance to extend their lead even further. The Falcons anticipated the pass and were surprised, then dismayed when nemesis Gary Ellis ripped off a run that put the Packers in Atlanta territory. But with only 19 seconds to go and with no timeouts left, the Packers called Ellis's number again. Ellis gained 10 yards on the run, but it barely allotted time for Green Bay's kicking team to get off the bench and onto the field. A pass might have stopped the clock, but Ellis's running play did not. With the clock ticking toward 0, veteran kicker Jan Stenerud just did get the ball off. The kick was perfect, but unfortunately for the Packers, a procedure penalty on their harried blocking line wiped out the field goal. So instead of a 17-0 lead, the Packers merely maintained their 2-touchdown advantage. Still, it had been a surprisingly good half for Green Bay, and a shocker for the Falcons. But 30 minutes still remain, plenty of time for the Falcons to find a way to break the Lambeau Field jinx. For Green Bay, those 30 minutes would be the toughest and ultimately most disappointing of the new season. As the second half began, 14 points separated Green Bay and Lehman Bennett's Falcons. But in reality, the two teams were separated by far more. Green Bay was playing crisp, aggressive, hard-nosed football. Atlanta was playing tentatively and without confidence. The Falcons needed to drastically change the course of the game. But early in the third quarter, it appeared they would continue to play as they had. A pass interference call on number 37, Kenny Johnson, made for a 43-yard Packer gain. Dickey knew that if he could sweep his Green Bay team downfield for a quick score, he certainly would destroy the mysterious group energy that vitalizes the Falcons. He couldn't. Safety Bob Glazebrook, number 36, picked off Dickey's sideline bullet. James Lofton was the intended target. And in this second half, the Falcons were not about to let the two-time All-Pro burn them as he had for the first 30 minutes. The play, however, was more the result of Dickey's poor judgment than it was a Falcon halftime adjustment. The first commandment of the pro quarterback is a very simple one. Don't throw into double coverage. In games past, a big interception would spark the opportunistic Falcons on to victory. But on this Sunday, the young Packers, too, displayed a penchant for digging in when the chips are down. Cornerback Mark Lee stepped neatly in front of Alfred Jenkins, and just as Atlanta had seized control, they relinquished it. If Green Bay could get on the board once more, then Atlanta would have to tally 3 times to tie. Outstanding but under-publicized tight end Paul Kaufman and Lynn Dickey set out to put the Falcons in just such a predicament. Kaufman was the veteran target, and rookie cornerback Bobby Butler, number 23, was the victim. Butler managed to make the tackle after Kaufman had covered 23 yards. 3 downs later, Green Bay ran the exact play right into Butler's area. And again, Kaufman came through. Next, Dickey called on James Lofton. Unfortunately, Lofton did not perform as he had in the first half. Lofton's momentary lapse in concentration was instrumental in the drive stalling at the Falcon 27, and the Packers had to settle for 3 from the veteran Stenerud. Green Bay had accomplished what they set out to do. They had forced Atlanta into a situation where they would have to score 3 times. For the Falcons, the proposition was simple. They had 16 minutes to turn the tide. Green Bay scored the fewest points in the NFL last season, but they were beating the team that many experts claim would be Super Bowl bound. It is in such circumstances, when behind on the road, that a prospective champion reveals its greatness. The Falcons finally showed signs of doing so. Bartkowski looked downfield for veteran Wallace Francis. Francis is the only Falcon who came via trade. Clearly, Atlanta is a team that builds from within. Next, they called on their prize draftee of 3 years ago, bruising fullback William Andrews. Andrews was finally hauled down on the Packers 16, but the Falcons could manage only a field goal. Nevertheless, the drive was important, for it seemed to stabilize a team that had played so erratically for 3 quarters. With less than 12 minutes to play, rookie Ray Stackowitz punted, and for the first time in the game, the feeling of uncertainty settled over Lambeau Field. Little dynamo Reggie Smith stands only 5'4" and weighs a mere 168 pounds. The smallest man on the field cruised 43 yards to the Packer 2, and one of the strongest backs in football took it from there. A block from number 68, R.C. Thielman, cleared the way for punishing William Andrews. With 2 flashing rights, wiry welterweight Thomas Hearns can floor an opponent. In 2 lightning-quick plays, Atlanta had abruptly altered the complexion of this game. Like the icy stare of Hearns before he moves in on his prey, Atlanta knew they would soon KO the Packers. With 8:18 to play, Bartkowski's boys trailed by 7. With 8 minutes to play, the game was tied. Alfred Jenkins had been unable to free himself deep all day, but suddenly with a game on the line, he managed to do just that. A repeat shows that the Pack was caught in an all-out blitz, leaving Jenkins with only single coverage by Mike McCoy. A perfect pass by Bartkowski and the point after tied the game at 17. The next play from scrimmage proved 2 old axioms. Those axioms being, just when you think things can't get worse, they do. And secondly, if anything can go wrong, it will. Trying to regain the lead, Dickey fell victim to Murphy's Law. And number 54, Fulton Kuykendall. Kuykendall's interception gave Atlanta the lead for the first time in the game, totally shell-shocking Green Bay and silencing the 55,000 on hand. But after all, wouldn't you be a bit stunned if your opponent reeled off 24 points in just over 4.5 minutes? Kuykendall has as much experience as his 3 linebacking buddies, Al Richardson, Buddy Curry, and Joel Williams, put together. His game-winning play was certainly a great example of leading by example. But a few minutes later, young Joel Williams showed that he too can make the big play. It's the big play of the young linebackers that many believe to be the key to Atlanta's entire defensive philosophy, and perhaps to their Super Bowl chances as well. With a slim touchdown lead, the Falcon defense dug in. Again, Atlanta linebackers would take center stage. In particular, Buddy Curry, number 50, who would land one of the biggest hits of his brief 2-year career. And number 58, Joel Williams, who would execute a memorable fumble recovery for a touchdown. Williams finalized a fourth quarter of Falcon dominance and Green Bay frustration. All in all, Atlanta rolled up 31 points in the final stanza, while the Packers tallied nothing. The play truly typified Green Bay's plight. Dickey's pass was right on the mark. Curry lowered the boom. Joel Williams subsequently lowered the morale in Lambeau Field, and James Lofton could do little more than sink lower and lower into depression. His 179 yards receiving were all in vain. For Lehman Bennett's Super Bowl aspiring Falcons, it was a great victory. For in order for a team to gain a playoff berth, they must show character on the road. For Bart Starr and his Packers, the loss was a major setback, for it was the home opener, and for 3 quarters his team showed they were capable of defeating a true NFL contender. It was a story that only could have been told in Hollywood, where endings don't have to make sense. For when the fourth quarter began, who'd have thunk it would have ended like it did?